In Brockton, we swing for the fences so we can touch home.
We coach in Brockton to instill the teamwork that builds a great winning tradition.
We do business in Brockton because here you can find a taste of home away from home.
We keep our company in Brockton because we love this city.
I study and learn in Brockton to achieve my goals.
When Brockton is home, everything is within reach.
You're watching Sioux City Scoop.
You're watching Sioux City Scoop. You're watching Sioux City Scoop.
In any case, now at this particular time, we're going to hear from our Honorable Mayor as he's going to deliver to us, to the City of Brockton, to the residents here, his inaugural address. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the City Council, School Committee, other elected dignitaries, it gives me a great honor and a great privilege to introduce to you our Mayor of the City of Brockton, Mr. William Bill Carpenter. Mayor Carpenter.
I think that may be the nicest reception I've ever received in this hall. Perhaps this would be a good time for me to announce that I am a candidate for re-election in 2 years. Mr. Clerk, members of the clergy, colleagues, family, and friends, welcome and thank you for being here. I would like to extend a special welcome to our 5 new members of the school committee, really 4 new members, with Mr. Sullivan returning for a second tour of duty. And I'd also like to welcome the 3 new members of the City Council, Councilor Beauregard in Ward 5, my home ward for 27 years, and the ward I had the privilege of representing on the school committee for 4 years, Councilor Lally in Ward 6. Jack, if you need a note for missing school today, just stop by my office later, okay?
Gonna hold you to that.
Don't worry, he's a designated driver after this. So.
And a special welcome back to Mayor Farwell, who returns as a council at large after a brief 20-year hiatus. It's also a pleasure for me to welcome our state legislative delegation, Representative Dubois, Representative Cronin, and Senator Brady. And my personal thanks and appreciation to the former mayors joining us this morning, Mayor Farwell, Mayor Units, and Mayor Harrington. They all slept much better than I did last night. Most importantly, thank you to my family, my children, and my partner in life, Julie. Thank you for making the sacrifices that you do every day to allow me to keep working at this job for a little while longer. And I feel particularly blessed and thankful to have my dad here with me today to share this moment. I am truly excited for the opportunity to continue to serve as your mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, if Brockton is to succeed and thrive as a 21st century city, we must make our city government work better. To my colleagues on the city council, for city government to work better, we must work better together. The campaign is over, and now it is time to govern. The residents of Brockton want all of their elected leaders to work together in the best interests of the city, and they deserve no less. We don't always have to agree, but we do always need to work together. And councilors, today I pledge to do everything that I can to work cooperatively with you as together we take on the challenges that face this city. Under the pressure of increasing budget shortfalls, we must embrace and invest in technology, while also adopting best practices so that government can operate more efficiently while still providing superior customer service to our constituents. Budget constraints will compel us to find ways to do more with less. We are making positive strides in adopting both technology and best practices. Today, residents can report problems to city agencies and track their response at any time using See, Click, Fix. Some police reports can now be filed online, freeing up our officers to remain on patrol instead of doing paperwork. We are actively developing our capability to issue permits and licenses online to create a more business-friendly environment in Brockton, while also expanding our capability to accept payments online to save residents the time and inconvenience of a trip to City Hall. Brockton has recently entered into a community compact with the Commonwealth that will bring both technical assistance and grant funding to support the city's efforts to develop financial and planning best practices. Our ongoing working relationship with the UMass Boston Collins Center continues to pay dividends as they assist us in implementing IT solutions into city departments. We are prepared to work alongside you as we enter the new year, facing the challenges presented by homelessness, pedestrian safety, and drug addiction. In the weeks ahead, we will be announcing the details of 4 different initiatives to reduce homelessness in Brockton. Champions United in Ending Family Homelessness, the piloting of a daytime resource center, a pledge to end veterans' homelessness in Brockton, and the introduction of our new homelessness task force as part of our overall downtown action strategy. The work of our pedestrian safety task force is well underway, with several projects centered around engineering, education, and enforcement, including a $500,000 grant from MassDOT to fund pedestrian safety improvements at several high-risk locations. As we enter 2016, Brockton finds itself at the forefront of the opiate addiction crisis. During the past year, our first responders answered over 1,000 overdose calls. And despite their heroic efforts, we suffered over 100 overdose deaths in the city of Brockton during the past year. We are committed to reducing both the supply and demand of illicit drugs in this city. The Brockton Police Department, led by the Narcotics and Gang Detectives units, continues to aggressively pursue drug dealers. In 2015, the Brockton Police executed 71 entry search warrants, a 10% increase over the previous year and double the number of raids conducted in 2013. Each one of these warrants represents a costly and time-consuming investigation, but it is a price that we must be willing to pay to get this poison out of our neighborhoods. But while we are fighting to reduce the supply of drugs coming into the city, we are equally committed to compassionately helping those individuals suffering from the disease of addiction. Later this month, we'll be announcing the details of the Champion Plan, an outreach effort combining the resources of both public safety and social service agencies with volunteers and treatment partners to engage and support those individuals who desire to seek treatment services. We believe the Champion Plan will be the most far-reaching and innovative effort of its kind to assist those suffering from substance abuse disorders, and it will serve as a model for other communities across the Commonwealth. During 2015, I was honored to be selected by Governor Baker as the only mayor to serve on the governor's opioid working group. I'm proud to stand beside the governor as he leads the fight to respond to the opioid epidemic. There is no challenge we face together greater or mission more important than reducing violent crime. Just a few days ago, President Obama declared a national epidemic of gun violence. Recently, Chief Crowley and I attended a gun violence summit hosted by Boston Mayor Marty Walsh that brought together mayors and police chiefs from across New England to strategize responses to gun violence in our communities. Here in Brockton, we're investing in technology, adopting new strategies, and sharing intelligence and resources with other law enforcement agencies at the local, county, state, and federal levels. During the past year, in partnership with Plymouth County Sheriff Joe McDonald, we've acquired AFIS, the latest fingerprint technology that allows our investigators to get fingerprint matches within minutes instead of the months that they previously had to wait for fingerprint search results. In partnership with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Brockton is one of 14 communities that ATF is now providing with ballistics support, not just detracing the origin of firearms used in crimes, but also providing fast response on NIVAN's ballistic testing of shell casings. This ATF ballistics support is critically important to our detectives, particularly in connecting shell casings found at different scenes to the same firearm. And just over 3 months ago, we deployed ShotSpotter gunshot technology over a 5-square-mile area of Brockton that is now allowing our patrol officers to get to the exact location of a shots-fired incident while witnesses and evidence are still there. Our Brockton Police Department gang unit is constantly developing and sharing intelligence to identify and target violent repeat offenders in our city. We know that a small group of 40 to 50 individuals at any given time is responsible for the vast majority of gun violence committed in Brockton. We will continue to aggressively, relentlessly pursue those criminals who threaten the safety of the law-abiding residents of this city. We've recently created a crime analyst position for the police department. The crime analyst will collect crime statistics and data, then convert the data into reports that the chief and his superior officers will be able to use to identify target areas to direct our limited resources to, while also supporting management decisions on staffing and budgets. This utilization of real-time crime data is the foundation of the CompStat system utilized by the New York City Police Department that Chief Crowley, Lieutenant LaGrice, and I were able to witness firsthand during our visit with NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton this past August. While investing in technology, implementing new strategies, and utilizing intelligence are all key components of our crime-fighting efforts, none are as important as getting more boots on the ground. We need more cops on the street. Our 9 newly hired police officers will be completing their training in the next 30 days to join our patrol ranks. Meanwhile, we are in the civil service selection process to hire 14 additional officers. When those 14 new hires join the force later this year, it will bring our total staffing to 196 police officers the largest number of police officers that we have had on the job in over 25 years. Reducing crime is not as simple as just hiring more police officers. The threats to our children of drug addiction and gun violence are community problems. The real solutions are long-term and community-based. We must be investing in our children, helping them to make good decisions, and raising them with a sense of hope and opportunity. Making city government work better also means investing resources in reducing quality of life crimes while cleaning up and stabilizing our neighborhoods. We've established proactive motorcycle patrols and reestablished bicycle patrol officers targeting crimes such as street-level drug dealing, loitering, and prostitution that impact the quality of life for families in this city. During the past 2 years, we've reduced graffiti with our graffiti removal team, established a needle cleanup program that includes a needle removal hotline and targeted vacant properties for code enforcement. We know that a key to stabilizing neighborhoods is reclaiming green spaces for families and children. The past 2 years have seen us invest in the new City Hall Plaza green space, restore an abandoned playground on Mulberry Street, and complete a $750,000 renovation of the James Edgar Playground. We are preparing to break ground in the spring on a new Ralsco Park on the site of a former vacant brownfield, and most recently, we've successfully secured a $250,000 grant from the state to restore Keith Park at the corner of South Main Street and Plain Street. One project at a time, we are building a livable city. Our biggest initiative to increase public safety in the upcoming year will be twofold: the establishment of a citywide network of video surveillance cameras combined with the replacement of every street light in the city with LED lighting. We've been able to coordinate the resources of the DPW, fire and police departments, parking authority, school department, and Brockton 21st Century Corp to strategically locate and install 100 video surveillance cameras across the city, 84 new cameras, plus the refurbishing of 16 older cameras. The first 11 cameras are already up, and the project will be completed by the end of this summer. Utilizing both wireless and dark fiber technology, the Brockton Police will have direct viewing access through all 100 cameras. Simultaneously, the DPW will oversee the replacement of all the city's streetlights with new LED lighting. The new LED lights will not only use less than half of the electricity of the old lights, but they will also shine 50% brighter, reducing crime while also increasing safety for pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorists. The energy savings of the LED lights will pay for their cost in 3.5 years, while coming with a 10-year warranty, guaranteeing the city a substantial savings on energy costs while making the city safer. The audit of the existing streetlights is complete, and the project is now in the design phase. Once the consultant has completed the design, we will be bringing the project forward to the City Council for approval of the appropriation and borrowing to fund the purchase and installation of the LED lighting. I look forward to working with the Council to get the new LED lighting installed this year. A strong working partnership between myself, the City Council, and the School Committee will be essential for us to survive the upcoming fiscal 2017 budget process. Since 2010, the city has suffered from a structural budget deficit due to an $8.5 million annual cut in state local aid to Brockton. And folks, that money is never coming back. Over the past 3 years, the cost of running city government has increased $33 million, an average increase of $11 million per year, creating an automatic deficit in our budget with no changes. The forecast for the upcoming fiscal year 17 budget is even more bleak, particularly in the school department budget. The scheduled pay raises for BEA teachers now in year 3 of their collective bargaining agreement this year projects to $8.1 million. Think about that number. Pay raises alone for our teaching staff will exceed $8 million this year. Add an additional $1.3 million in pay increases for the non-certified school employees, and we are looking at a $9.4 million in pay raises just on the school side of the budget. That means that we're almost $10 million in the hole before we even begin building the rest of the budget. That is money we will not have. There will be tough decisions to be made, as we will not overcome this budget deficit without painful budget cuts and tax increases. And no one wants a tax increase. The large nonprofit corporations in Brockton can no longer turn their backs on this city's financial crisis. Let me be clear. I'm not asking for help from churches and volunteer organizations. I'm only asking the city's 20 largest nonprofit corporations who have purchased millions of dollars of commercial real estate to make voluntary payments to the city of just 10 to 20% of what their property tax bill would be. 10 to 20 cents on the dollar to help us pay for the public safety resources that they are utilizing. I will pledge today that all voluntary pilot payments made to the city by the nonprofit corporations in fiscal year 16 will be added to local school funding to help offset anticipated teacher layoffs. It's time for the large nonprofits with their multi-million-dollar budgets and executives earning six-figure incomes to step up and help us save our schools. It's clear that we can no longer afford to rely solely on insufficient state aid and property taxes to balance the budget. We must develop additional sources of revenue, and we're doing that. We've generated over $1 million during the past year by selling off idle city property acquired through tax foreclosure. This year, we will collect $200,000 in licensing fees on electronic billboards. A host community agreement with the medical marijuana facility will pay the city a minimum of $100,000. A solar field being developed on the Thatcher Street landfill will begin generating an estimated $250,000 per year, and a tax title auction scheduled for the spring should spur a collection of unpaid property taxes. There is no question that we desperately need the guaranteed $4 million per year revenue generated from the gas-fired electric plant. We also must continue to lobby for a resort casino complex at the fairgrounds that would pay a projected $12 million per year to the city, eliminating our annual budget deficit and funding the hiring of police officers, firefighters, and school teachers, while also helping to finance the rebuilding of our crumbling roadways. The real solution to our budget woes lies in expanding our revenue base, creating real new tax growth revenue, not just going back to our existing taxpayers and asking them to pay more and more. This is why economic development and planning to create jobs and spur investment in Brockton has been a primary focus of our first term in office. We've built a team of professionals working together to attract investment, create jobs, and revitalize our city's business districts. This morning, I asked the City Council and our state legislative delegation to continue to partner with us in making the dream of a thriving Brockton become a reality. We will soon be officially submitting the Brockton Downtown Action Strategy to the City Council for your input and consideration. We have also released Brockton 2025, a 10-year game plan, creating 12 economic development districts across the city. The work that has begun downtown is now extending south to the Campello and Edison Brook districts and will continue to all four quadrants of Brockton. We will soon be submitting to the City Council several pieces of critical legislation for Brockton's future and ask for your swift consideration and approval. The Downtown Urban Revitalization Plan will give the city the authority to implement our Downtown Brockton Action Strategy. A number of the City Councilors here this morning have been directly involved in the development of this plan we now ask for your endorsement. We will also be seeking your approval of a zoning cleanup ordinance that will eliminate inconsistencies and ambiguities in many of our zoning ordinances, making it more attractive for developers and business owners to invest their private capital here in Brockton. This ordinance will be the precursor to developing a citywide comprehensive master plan that will create a 30-year blueprint for the city's business districts and neighborhoods. This morning, we also ask for your speedy consideration of the expansion of the existing 40R district downtown. The 40R district encourages and incentivizes mixed-use development in the downtown and is a key to unlocking the development potential of vacant and unutilized commercial properties. Councilor Sullivan, you were the sponsor of the legislation that created our existing 40R district, and I ask you now to lead this effort to expand our 40R district so that together we can unlock the opportunities for private investment in downtown Brockton. Perhaps the most exciting private development project of the new year will be the redevelopment of the LeBaron Foundry site by the D.W. Clark Company, a project for which the City Council recently approved a tax increment financing plan. This project represents a $6 million private investment that will convert a polluted, abandoned 5.5-acre site into a brand new advanced manufacturing facility. Not only does this project revitalize a blighted area, but it will immediately bring 50 jobs into the city and create an additional 25 more new jobs. In order to continue to bring companies like D.W. Clark to Brockton, we must bridge the skills gap by joining with partners like the Brockton Area Workforce Investment Board and Southeastern Regional Vocational Technical High School to develop our workforce with the necessary skills and training to attract employers to invest in Brockton. Consistent with the Baker administration's urban agenda, we must bring economic development and education together to achieve real workforce development. And the place to create that partnership with education is in a downtown Brockton State College campus. Over the past 2 years, we've begun making changes to position the city of Brockton for success. Let's work together to build on that success, to create jobs, to ensure safe and clean neighborhoods, to provide our children with the opportunities created by a quality public school education, and to sustain essential city services. While traveling with Bridgewater State University President Fred Clark recently, he reminded me of a quote from former U.S. Congressman Joe Moakley. Congressman Moakley said, "Serving in office is like living in the neighborhood. You can't impress your neighbor unless he's got some faith in you. You've got to build relationships. You've got to let people know you. You've got to do a lot of listening, and you've got to realize that nobody has a monopoly on new ideas." As your mayor, I will strive to follow Congressman Moakley's model for leadership as we work together to keep Brockton moving forward. Let's go to work. Thank you.
In Brockton, we swing for the fences so we can touch home.
We coach in Brockton to instill the teamwork that builds a great winning tradition.
We do business in Brockton because here you can find a taste of home away from home.
We keep our company in Brockton because we love this city.
I study and learn in Brockton to achieve my goals.
When Brockton is home, everything is within reach.